So this is about antibiotic alternatives. And so this video is about antibiotics. Are you tired of taking antibiotics? Are you suffering from an antibiotic side effect? Is your antibiotic not working? And then this video is for you. And after watching the video, what you should have is to know what an antibiotic is, the benefits and problems with antibiotic therapy, and a couple alternatives to antibiotics. Now, the definition of an antibiotic is any substance that inhibits the growth and replication of a bacterium or kills it outright can be called an antibiotic. And antibiotics are a type of antimicrobial designed to target bacterial infections within or on the body. This makes antibiotics subtly different from other main kinds of antimicrobials widely used today. And antiseptic are used to sterilize the surfaces of living tissues with the risk of infection if it's high, such as during surgery. And disinfectives are non-selective antimicrobials killing a wide range of microorganisms, including bacteria. They are used on non-living surfaces, for example in hospitals. Now, there's antifungals that kill fungus and antivirals that can kill some type of viruses. Most antibiotics used today are produced in laboratories, but they are often based on compounds scientists have found in nature. Some microbes, for example, produce substances specifically to kill other nearby bacteria in order to gain a competitive advantage when competing for food, water, or other limited resources. However, some microbes only produce antibiotics in the laboratory. And so how do antibiotics work? Antibiotics are used to treat bacterial infections, and some are highly specialized and are only effective against certain types of bacteria. Others, known as broad-spectrum antibiotics, attack a wide range of bacteria, including the ones that are beneficial to us. These are two main ways which antibiotics target bacteria. They either prevent the reproduction of the bacteria, or they kill the bacteria, for example, by disrupting the cellular wall. Now, why are antibiotics important? Introduction of antibiotics into medicine revolutionized the way that infectious disease were treated. However, it's also caused some problems with the overprescription or overutilization of antibiotics. Between 1945 and 1972, the average life expectancy jumped 8 years with antibiotics used to treat infections. But just like some things that are good that are used too much, antibiotics, if they're improperly prescribed, can cause a host of problems and a host of different unwanted side effects. Now, today, antibiotics are one of the most common classes of drugs used in medicine and make possible many of the complex surgeries that have become routine around the world. If we ran out of effective antibiotics in modern medicine, it would set us back. However, some people are over-relying on antibiotics for common ear infections or the cold, which is mostly caused by a virus, and viruses don't respond to antibiotics. Relatively minor surgeries such as appendectomies could be life-threatening if we ran out of antibiotics, or if you use antibiotics too much and the bacteria get immune for them, it's going to cause problems. Now, antibiotics are sometimes used in a limited number of patients before surgery to ensure that the patients do not contract any infections from bacteria entering open cuts. Now, without this precaution, the risk of blood poisoning could become much higher, and many of the more complex surgeries doctors now perform may not even be possible. Antibiotics are called societal drugs, since antibiotics resistance can pass from bacterium or from bacteria causing antibiotic resistance, and resistant bacterial infections can pass from person to person. I just had a patient go into the hospital system for a colon surgery and developed methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, which is a MRSA infection, and passed it on to all of the family members. Now, the difficulty with this condition is it's completely antibiotic resistant, and the only way to treat those conditions is you have to make the person healthy, which if you make people healthy, you can decrease the need and utilization of antibiotics. Now, antibiotic use and antibiotic resistance can eventually affect the entire community because you can spread antibiotic resistant bacteria from one family member or from one friend to another. Now, antibiotics in the form we know them today are still relatively modern invention because they were accidentally discovered by Sir Alexander Fleming. He was working on a project in his lab and noticed that there was some mold on an agar sheet and our agar plate, and what happened was the bacteria wasn't growing around them. This was happened in 1928 and heralded the beginning of what we call modern antibiotic era. This discovery and subsequent development of numerous antibiotics for the first time provided doctors with effective treatments for previously difficult or incurable infections. Hey, thanks for watching the video. If you'd like more information, education, or want to work with us, head over to bestmedicaloptions.com. And if you want to help to reach, teach, and heal the world, leave a comment, like, share it with someone that you love. It may seem like an impossible task, but those that are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. Now, some commonly prescribed conditions for antibiotics are all bacterial infections, for acne, for urinary tract infections, for strep throat, for pneumonia, but antibiotics may have side effects. Some of these more common side effects include soft stools or diarrhea, an upset stomach, vomiting, severe watery diarrhea and abdominal cramps, allergic reactions, shortness of breath, rash, swelling of the lips, face or tongue, vaginal itching or discharge, white patches on the tongue, again, skin rashes. And so let's talk about some other ways to manage infections and immune system disorders besides using antibiotics. It's my opinion that you should use antibiotics only when absolutely necessary because they'll work better and they may save your life. Now, some alternatives to antibiotic therapy. My favorite vitamin is vitamin C. Should be liposomal, which we use vitamin C powder. We mix it with the fat. It forms mycelial formation. It gets into your system. It works tremendously. I love echinacea, and echinacea has been used historically for years, and then it did get a little bit of a rap a couple years ago because I think it was a disingenuous study. Now, what does that mean? There are active components of herb. Is it the root? Is it the stem? Is it the leaf? It is the flower. And it's my understanding of the echinacea study that said that it didn't work is that they were using the wrong active component of the echinacea plant. I've seen tremendous outcomes with echinacea. Now, olive leaf, golden seal, calendula, and then colloidal silver. Now, if we make the body healthy, we don't need antibiotic therapy because we're always being consulted or assaulted with viruses, fungus, bacteria. And if we use raw honey, horseradish, garlic, pineapple, which has a really neat enzyme in it called bromelain, oil of oregano, grapefruit seed extract, tea tree oil, and then some of the in-office treatments that we've been able to do to save legs from amputation, MRSA infections, and turn around chronic infections are the ultraviolet therapy. There's a way you can put an IV catheter into the arm and treat the blood with 20 minutes of red light, 20 minutes of green light, 20 minutes of magenta light. You can also use something called major autohemotherapy where you run red blood cells past an ultraviolet light where you can attach a photon of energy to the red blood cells that are being exposed. IV vitamin C therapy between 25,000 and 100,000 milligrams, and dilute hydrogen peroxide therapy are all fantastic treatment recommendations for chronic infections. Now, the one thing that's really important, if you have a fungal infection or a viral infection, don't take an antibiotic. It's not gonna help you and it's gonna make things worse if you need an antibiotic therapy in the future. So natural considerations for antibiotic therapy. It's Dr. Jason West. We'll see you on the next video.